What's up guys, I'm Lena and today I'm going to be doing a Zelda and Link Halloween costume sew with me. I'm so happy with how these turned out and can't wait to share the process. Let's get started and thank you so much for watching. So these are the fabrics that I'll be using. Definitely this blue. This will go on the inside of the sleeves and perhaps the collar. I'll most likely be using this for any trim or gold detail. I may be using this thin leather material to help create the crown. I don't really love the fabrics that I found, but they were the closest thing in color, so I just went with them and we'll see how it goes. I'll also be ordering a blonde wig and some elf ears for the project. Hopefully I don't need to buy any other materials.
I started by drafting up a pattern for the bodice.
Alright, here is my little mock-up. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I will do some sort of, probably a lace-up closure in the back. Just right down there, and I'm also going to bring these armhole areas in a little bit. It's just a little too much fabric, but obviously the sleeves are going to be huge, voluminous, so cool.
Now to cut out the pieces. I decided to make both the lining and the outer shell out of the same material. Before I put them together, I ironed all of the seams down flat. Here I'm pinning them together and I sewed all along the top of the bodice.
So this is coming out so well. I'm really happy with it. I have it double lined right now. So we've got nice clean seams. I still need to iron the top and cut the little corners, but oh my gosh, I think this looks great. I mean, imagine with all the gold detailing, the belt, and obviously the sleeves. I'm going to add in a little bit of this boning just right here. I've found that it is a really great way to keep this fabric from bunching once you actually wear it, because I won't have probably much pulling it downward. Like if there was a skirt attached to this, it would most likely just kind of fall down nicely, but as a shirt it may bunch up a little when I add in the strings. So that little bit of boning makes a huge difference. And then we'll just add 1, 2, 3, 4 eyelets, and then we'll have some sort of belt thing going on here. I'm not sure what I'm doing yet, but I need to leave room for that.
I did the sleeves in 2 parts. To start, I did a voluminous puff sleeve for the top. The bottom of the sleeve is the most exciting part. I cut out some long strips of this gold fabric and then ironed it down into essentially bias binding. I then sewed it along all the edges of the bottom part of the sleeve. Here's how it looks. Next is the gold band that goes around the arm. I wanted to put elastic inside of it, so I created essentially a tube. See how it opens up here? So when it's around the arm, I can insert elastic. The 2 sleeve halves need to be the same length, and the bottom is actually 2 inches longer than the top piece. So I need to fix that by putting a pleat in the back. I want them to match up perfectly like this. I just measured it out and sewed across the top. Then I marked in the front where I wanted the opening to be and sewed all the way around. Now for the gold band that we made. It covers up the ugly spot where the 2 pieces of the sleeve meet. I just sewed all the way around the sleeve at the top and the bottom of the band, and it looks like this. I'm already so excited with how this is looking. Now for all that gold detailing, I made it into essentially a harness. I pinned it how I wanted it to look, and then I started on the belt.
So my plan is to sew this waistband to the bottom of the shirt all the way across, and to add another eyelet or maybe even two to the center here, so that when I lace it up, it pulls the belt nice and taut. My only problem is that this sheer fabric, the organza that I put over this blue material, is really, really delicate, and I fear that if I put these straight on there, it will just rip. So what I'm actually thinking that I will do is take just a nice layer of this and wrap the ends, and then sew probably like that, and then I'll sew the waistband onto the top of the shirt, and then I'll add in my eyelet, probably just one now to the center actually. So I'm really hoping it'll go well. It will overlap with a little bit of the boning too, so I think it will help keep it kind of stable, so wish me luck. Everything else though is really working out. I haven't done obviously the top of the harness looking part, but I did place these here so that they'll be nice and hidden under the waistband. And then over the waistband I'll have a beautiful trim, so any messiness will be pretty covered up. I think this will do. To save myself from going completely insane, I've decided to not really finish the inside. None of this fabric is likely to fray or anything, so I figure we will just leave the inside a little wonky. But we're just gonna sew across the top now. Sew a little bit more down here just to connect these two ends, and add the eyelet, and then we'll continue with kind of decorating the belt.
I used an iron-on trim to add to the belt, and then I also added some stitches all over to secure it. The top is now done, and you'll see how it turned out at the end. Next, we're starting on the accessories. So for the wrist cuff, I cut out the shape that I wanted out of some faux leather. Once that was cut out, I just used plain Elmer's glue to glue it to that same gold fabric. I then carefully cut it out once it dried. It's a little finicky, but definitely worth it. To lace them up, I just poked some holes through the material and used shirring elastic. I cut the ends short. Turned out. I made identical ones for each side. For the cool gold top detailing, I did the same thing with that red leather and sewed it all the way around at the center of the neckline. Excuse the blurriness, but we are now making the tiara. I cut out all the shapes I needed out of gold and red. For this accessory, I just used my hot glue gun, and I kind of wish I'd done it throughout the whole project because it was so much easier and faster than Elmer's glue. I also found it was easier to cut the shape out of the red, glue the gold fabric on top, and then cut it out. To make it into a headband, I just took some nice stretchy elastic and glued it to each end of the tiara. I also added some stitches later to secure it. she is with the wig and the ears. Oh my goodness, I love how it turned out. Now we're on to the skirt pieces. That was the very last of my blue fabric, so I had to get creative with this red in the back. Then we got a little gold waistband going on. I added that gold bias binding around the blue skirt pieces, just like I did the sleeves. Then, after I gathered up the red, I sewed it to the back of the skirt. It's a little hard to explain, but here's what it looks like in the back.
For the skirt, I decided to get rid of the white power mesh layer, and I sewed down the waistband to be a bit smaller, and just, it looks a little more clean, I think, than what I had before. I'm just going to have like a little button or some sort of clasp, maybe even a hook and eye closure. And then to go right in the front, I just made this little pleated thing. I don't know what you call it. It almost looks like apron shaped. And this will just take the place of that sword thing that Zelda has in front of her dress. I really tried to make one, but it didn't come out very well, so this looks pretty nice. Today is the day for finishing touches. I want to find a way to maybe just put a string, or actually I'm gonna put this on some elastic so I can keep it around my waist. And then I need to add the little hook onto the front of my skirt. So we've got that there, and then on the inside here we'll have this little guy. Oh, sorry, it's blurry. There we go. So that's it. After that, the skirt is done. The top is done. I think every accessory. So yep, really wrapping it up today.
I sewed down each pleat about maybe 2 inches just to help it hold its shape. I also sewed it down into a little tube like this to put the elastic through. Closing this clip is so satisfying. It turned out really nice considering I was basically out of blue fabric by the time I got to the skirt. To finish it off, I just added some gold rope.
So that's basically how the skirt is going to look. The top will definitely be the showstopper. I got my wig in, my fake elf ears, and then I also have to order my shoes, but basically everything's ready to go now.
I also made a Link shirt for my boyfriend. I just made a simple t-shirt, opened up the bottom like that, and then cut out a neckline similar to the character. After I hemmed the neckline, it was starting to look pretty good, but I still had to add the rest of the embroidery. Now I'm going to show you how it all turned out. The accessories really made Link's costume. For Link, we got some belts, a sword, and an ocarina. I've never been more proud of a project, and I'm already planning next year's costumes because this was so fun. Thank you so much for watching.